Welcome back to Take Flight, episode number 39. How's everyone doing?
Woo! Energy up, guys. Energy up.
We're good.
Coming down to the end of the year. This is serious
Exactly.
time now. Serious business.
P, how's old age treating you?
Oh, we've had a few birthdays, right? We've had a few birthdays since the last episode was recorded.
I still feel 29.
You don't look it.
Do your knees?
Hey, listen.
What age are your knees?
What about your back, man?
Oh, good. No, I'm good.
And also, Shual, it feels like we haven't seen you in such a long time. You've been.
You know what? I was
traveling.
just about to say the same thing. Now that we've switched to releasing episodes every other Friday, I actually miss seeing all of your handsome faces and having these conversations. So, how was your birthday, by the way, Olu? How was it? Good?
It was good. Daniel was the bartender for the night. So, yo.
Jeez!
Alcoholic.
Did you have to? I know
Yeah,
Daniel
alcoholic.
Daniel charges a lot for those types of things. So did he give you a good mates rates, or he charged you his usual price?
He gave me a really good rate.
Mm.
Really good rate. Let's just say that. But
That's
I definitely highly recommend Daniel in terms of his skills and his drinks. Everyone was like,
Look at Daniel's face.
the drinks were fire. You should also see the menu that he put together, the drink menu as well.
Cool.
Yeah, I
Customized
saw
menu
that.
as well.
I saw that, by the way. That was dope. That was really cool.
So you're here with Pabilo with a bad connection. You're here with DJ, the guy with the quotes, and you're here with a Playboy Shual.
Whoa.
And yours truly,
Can't give me that nickname, bro.
Blast, baby.
I'm a respectable young man trying to make the best out of the life and the card of hands that I've been given. Doesn't even make sense.
So on this week's episode, as we're wrapping up the year, we're going to look at 2020. What are our goals for 2020? Have we already set goals for 2020?
Vision.
And what's going to be our approach for the new year? Yep. So if you had a certain approach for 2019 and it didn't work, I'm sure you're probably going to change your approach for next year, right? So
I like that.
stay tuned and let's get started.
Take off, take flight with you. For we never fly, but we're flying.
Boom.
So 2020, damn.
Mate,
This year's
how has the year gone by so fast? Maybe for our next episode, we can talk about some of our 2019 highlights. But this year, as you said, Olu, is the 2020 focus. And Pete, I think this is your episode that you're leading, right? So how do you want us to have the discussion?
Yeah, so I think it's obviously a worthy discussion to have, because I think by now we've all had a few years of sort of taking goal setting quite seriously, and in the past, some of the goals and how we would approach them would have worked, and perhaps there are things that we would have tried that hasn't worked. So as we go into 2020, what I guess the real question of discussion is around what approach are you taking differently, not so much on the actual goals themselves for 2020. What are you, how are you going to think about them differently? How are they going to be aligned and these kind of things? So that was kind of the way to set the goals was what I wanted to sort of have a discussion around.
By the way, it's 2020, not 2020.
Oh, yeah, it's true.
That's what I say, because if you said it again, I was about to just laugh. But so I thought I'd just say it.
Did I say 2020?
Yeah.
I didn't even realize.
I thought if you say it again, I'm gonna burst out laughing. So,
So let me ask a question. Have any of you guys started thinking about the next year?
Yes.
Okay. And what does that goal look like in terms of? So maybe let me start. Maybe I can kick off. So one of the things that I would have done in the past, and I want to do very differently moving forward, is moving away from qualitative fluff and approaching goals in a sense of having a hard number behind the goals, because then it's very easy to track success and the failure, and there's no hiding. Because I think in the past, it's first of all, a lot. Let's just even put it out there in the fact that a lot of people don't even set goals in the first place. So when you start the process of setting goals, I think there's a lot of writing things like, for example, I don't know. This is the example I put down. Like, I want to attend the gym, once a week or twice a week.
But so,
and usually,
sorry to cut off. I do think people set goals, but I don't think people are purposeful. I think people might verbally or say them in their heads, but they don't hold themselves accountable by setting deadlines. So they say they want to do something next year, but they don't say, I want to do it by the end of February or in March. Yeah.
And do they constantly go back to it to say, okay, how am I in regards to on track, off track? What do I? Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, so Pete, sorry.
No. That's another point in terms of how do we want to put the deadline or time frame on it. But like, for example, I was thinking, one of the things I was thinking about is in the past, I would have said to myself, okay, try to sort of go to the gym or work out 4 or 5 times a week. But what will happen is as the year goes, I'm not really tracking. I'm just sort of saying, if I'm going to the gym, then I'm kind of keeping up with my goal. I think a more meaningful goal is I should try to achieve a certain body fat percentage. So by the end of the year or by the middle of the year, depending on when I want to get that, it's very clear if I was able to get there or not. What are you laughing for?
Because I could tell you didn't reach that goal this year.
No, but I didn't. No.
I don't think that was even a goal for this year.
No, that wasn't. First of all, the body fat percentage wasn't even a goal. Okay. But secondly, what I'm saying is that instead of saying, okay, I want to go to the gym 3 times a week, which is probably going to be difficult to achieve every single week, right? Which will then get you frustrated. If you say to yourself, okay, my body fat percentage needs to come down to X, that then is very hard and very black and white as to whether you achieved or not. That's, I think.
Would you also have like an image of like, okay, you want your body fat to be set like X, but you also want to look like something or someone per se?
I think P wants to look a bit like me. That's what it is.
I'm just wondering if
you can say that. No. You can say that. But then to your point, Olu, that is again a very good goal, because then by the end of the year, do I look like that person or not? It's black and white. There's no, I went to the gym for the first 4 months and then I faded, but I kind of did okay, So it's that kind of thinking. But
so you're gonna spend like your evenings like cutting out magazine pictures of guys?
No, I'm not.
Picture
board. I think one of the things I'll be doing next year is every single goal I have has a number associated with that goal.
So there's no work, right?
There's no quality. Yeah, but at work, I don't know about you, but at work we have these like objectives that are kind of passed down depending on and they're very qualitative. It's like, how do you really measure that by the end of the year?
So your goal for 2020 is to put a number behind every single goal.
Single goal. So in the wealth standpoint, it's easier because you can say, okay, X number of houses, X number of assets, X number of. But when I was thinking about health and workout, I was thinking, okay, how do I do that? Body fat percentage, as an example.
Okay, I see. Okay. What about yourself?
Ollie, you said you've already. So my perspective, to be very honest with you, is we'll be releasing this episode kind of early December, and I have yet to think about my 2020s because there's still my 2019 ones that I'm trying to achieve, and I'm trying to go full speed on, especially now that I've just recently come back from taking like a 10-day break for traveling. There's goals that I really want to achieve that I've set myself for this year that I'm kind of fully focused on, to be honest. So I don't think it makes sense for me to start thinking about next year until I've really achieved the ones that I focused on this year, and I should be okay.
Shiwa, you can't stop when the year ends, right?
What do you mean?
The year's going to end at a certain date. In terms of, you've only got a month and a bit left. Some of these goals you're just not going to complete this year.
No, but that's the thing. It's not like
you don't know that.
That's true.
Yeah, the goals that I've set aren't ones I'm actually starting now. They're ones that I've already. Okay. These are things that aren't something that I can do within a 1 or 2 week basis. They're basically ongoing things. A lot of them that I started already a couple of months ago. Some even at the beginning of the year. So it's just a case of closing them out to the level that I've set myself. But then these will naturally follow on to next year. I think what Pavilo was saying, I think quantifying it always helps. What's funny is this year, I actually set myself a body fat percentage goal and I didn't achieve it. Whereas last year, I set myself a health target of going to a gym a certain number of times and I actually got down to my lowest level of body fat percentage last year. So it's strange. I don't know why I wasn't able to do this year. I think this year I had lots of other things that came up which took maybe a bit more time and effort. But I do agree with people. If you can really quantify something and really nail it down, like any key performance indicator, if you can measure it, then you can really have the success against it. So,
sure. Question in regards to you mentioning that there's some goals you might have in 2019 that you didn't complete and you might bring over to 2020. Do you also use the end of the year as like a reflection point to say, okay, maybe this goal I should stop, maybe it's not right, it's not working, I should readjust? Do you use the end of the year as a opportunity to reflect? Because
for sure. So that is, for me, that's actually even more important before you even set any goals for next year, is reflect on what you've set for the year that's just gone by and how you've measured against them. And it's something that I think I mentioned in an episode earlier in the year. I think we all discussed it, about how the last couple of years I've been doing it with my two younger brothers, where we list out all the goals, and then at the end of the year and during the course of the year as well, we review them and go through them and then track each other, and we monitor each other as well. And I think that really helps because it gives you a good grounding on where you've done well and where you've not done so well. And then also a lot of these you can carry over or take up a notch. So I guess Pabilo was saying before, if you're in the property space and you want to buy 10 properties in a year and then you achieve 10 in 2019, then you can just add another 0 on the end of it and just try expanding it even more. So I think it gives you a good basis to build on. But what's your view, Olu?
Just before you, Ollie, take the mic. On that point, that's another thing also, which I think we've learned has worked very well this year. That I'll certainly take into next year, which was after you've established whatever your goals are going to be. I think a large factor to succeed in those goals is having accountability partners. So one way is you could take the extreme approach of telling the world your goals. So going on Instagram and saying, this is what I'm intending to achieve. And now, because you've put it out there, there's a certain level of pressure that you actually need to achieve those. But the other one is telling a close friend or creating a mastermind group where effectively you share your goals. And then every quarter or however you guys decide, you guys keep up with those goals. I think that is probably the underlying driver behind really succeeding. Someone has to be on you outside of
accountability. You need accountability partners.
You need it.
You need it. I would say that's the number one thing that will drive success, right? Because even if we look at this podcast, right? If one of us was doing this podcast, it would have finished time ago.
Yes.
We would have started and then stopped. But the fact that
speak for yourself.
If you were doing the podcast,
speak for yourself.
Wait for episode 1 to come out.
I think we're still probably
No.
We'll still be in pre-production. He will be saying, "Yo, I want the best camera. I want this. I want that. I want this. I want a studio." No, I can't just rent out. But we need to buy a studio. We'll be waiting for years before we come out.
Hashtag the bottom line. Go on, Ollie. Go run it.
For the listeners, for the listeners, if you didn't know, we do have a YouTube channel. Pabilo's in charge of.
We take flight. Yeah, of course.
Take Flight's got a YouTube channel. So if you do have a chance, check out YouTube. Type in. We need a few more views on those videos. No, in terms of my goal going into 2020, I think the biggest thing I'm looking, or when I was sitting down to start considering about the next year, is how do I reduce my goals? And I think I was talking to Pabilo about this in regards to 2020 for me was I just want it to be based on focus. Because I think a lot of times we have too many goals. Yeah, go on.
Okay, go on. Okay, I'll go.
Yeah.
Go.
So sometimes we have too many goals and we stretch ourselves across multiple different things that we want to achieve, and we only see a marginal improvement or marginal success in those specific areas. So as I've sort of looked at 2020, I've tried to say, okay, let me narrow it down to maybe 3 to 5 things I want to focus on. At the end of the year, I want to be like, okay, you've achieved those 3 to 5 things, and you can be proud of it. Now, anything outside of that, yes, I want to stay healthy. Yes, all of these other stuff. but it's not going to be my prime focus. It's going to be those 3 things going into the year. And as long as I succeed on those 3 things, I'm completely happy. So
And have you already set your 3 for next year? Or you're still processing?
I've got 2 out of the 3 things I've already set that I'm like, okay, these are 2 things I want to focus on.
Pete, go ahead.
Yeah, Pete,
go ahead. No, what I'm gonna say, no, I'm not gonna. Olu, I actually am going to owe a portion of my wealth to you when eventually we're highly successful. Because to Olu's point, we had a discussion a couple of weeks ago where he said to me, he says, and it's we've heard it before, but I think sometimes when there's a certain point in time in your life when you hear something, the penny really drops. And Olu said, imagine what we would achieve if we focus just on one thing for an entire year. And then I thought to myself, wow, because I don't know, maybe it's society today and how it's wired and how trends and how patterns go, but we tend to get our fingers sort of stuck in a lot of things. And a year is actually quite a long time. So that's another way of also looking at 2020 is if there's only one thing or 3 things that you could actually prioritize, what would they be and do those well? Which also brings me to the other point, which was I've stopped writing goals that are going to happen by default. And what do I mean by that? I would usually write things like go on holiday with my family. Whether I don't have to make that goal because it's going to happen. At some point, my brother's going to reach out to me, mom's going to reach out to me, or someone's going to just get it going. So I find, but it was a bit like you're putting it on there just so you can tick something off because you know it's going to happen. So it's really, I think, one of the approaches next year is take 3, one thing that's going to be really hard to do and make that your thing.
And it's really around changing your life. Yeah, these need to be life-changing goals.
Yeah.
Like you just don't want to write goals like, oh, if you're already someone that's very healthy, someone that goes to the gym, going to the gym is not a big deal for you, etc. Writing a goal like, oh, I want to go to the gym 4 times a week is like, is it really going to make a big difference versus last year? Now I can understand if you're someone that completely is either doesn't watch their weight, they never stepped into the gym before in their life, they put on quite a lot of weight, then yes, going to the gym will be a big milestone, a big change of your life, the way you were living. But for other people that already do that shouldn't really be your goal. You should just continue your lifestyle. You need to have goals which are going to elevate you to the next level, right? That's what you really need. You need to, whatever goal you're doing, it needs to really elevate your life, completely change your life. So you could be successful, whatever. You don't want to stay in that same space. You want to completely change it, whichever way. If it's love, family relationship, if it's your health, if it's business, you just want to elevate yourself.
Daniel,
yo,
what's on your mind?
No, I've been listening.
Have you had your annual meeting yet? Because I know you've got your annual meting coming up. Or have you had
you were actually excited about that in the last podcast. I don't know if you've already had it.
You're not so excited no more, innit?
you got that feedback form. You got that report card.
No. I've just.
Daniel, come on.
When you're ready.
Respond.
Get your laughter.
The thing is, because you're being silent, that's why it's making it funnier.
No, because I haven't had it yet. It's not December yet. It's in December. No, but I was listening, and I think the first thing for when you think about the year ahead, and Cheryl mentioned it, you have to look back. You have to review the current year or the previous year first. And I sent all of you something about the year compass booklet, which I think I'm going to try this year, which was sent to me in another group. And it's about it's a planning booklet, but it says that you need to invest about 3-4 hours of uninterrupted time to really delve into it if you want to get the best out of it. And I'm not going to go into it, but if any listener wants it, I'm happy to send it to you. So just drop us a DM.
I honestly feel like we should think about a way to share that, because
it's really good.
It's really good.
Even like the first couple of pages is just going through your calendar, but also this it's split. Well, I've seen this here, but also before it's about splitting it into different sections. So this one has personal life and family, work, studies, profession, belongings. So like home, objects, relaxation, hobbies, creativity, friends and community, health and fitness, intellectual, emotional, spiritual, finances, and then bucket list. But I was, after pondering when you shared the agenda and thinking about it, there are some things that I thought of. And one thing I want to do differently this year is actually use this booklet and sit down with my wife and actually go through it and make some meaningful goals, so to speak. But one thing in the book I read and some other notes that I've taken from elsewhere is goals must be long range. When I say that, is without long range goals, you're likely to be overcome by short range frustrations. I'll say that again because I messed it up. Without long range goals, you are likely to be overcome by short range frustrations. So that's like overcoming obstacles. So anything that may present itself, you're likely to give up. So sometimes you need to change your direction, but not your decision. So as we set goals and as obstacles do present themselves, remember why you set the goal in the first place, which we've spoken about in a previous episode. But don't be afraid to change the direction, but not your decision. And when I mentioned earlier, when P was talking, I said, most people do set goals, but they might say it or set them subconsciously. Goals must be daily and they must be specific, as we all know. Because if it's not specific, like P said, you can't really tick it off. Or if it's just qualitative fluff, there isn't a way to say I met that goal or I didn't meet that goal. And one thing is, if you didn't meet that goal, why? And it's only you. It's not you're not being judged by it. You shouldn't be so hard done to think that you have to tick everything off. And the thing with goals, they can be negative, but that's only if you don't accept that you must first be the architect and luck isn't involved. You have to be the one who drives it. You can't rely on luck or anything like that. You have to be the architect and the driver at the same time. If it's unrealistically big, which we've spoken about in a previous episode, and if it's outside your area of interest or was set by someone else, you're really not going to achieve that. So
unless it's set by your wife, then you might not have a choice. You might have to.
But no,
that
but
might
the thing
be one
is,
way you have to be like, yeah.
But it's not something. But you're not going to be passionate about it. Any opportunity that presents itself for you to quit or say, bring up an excuse, you will say it.
You'll try, but sometimes get that kick.
Ollie, you're sounding like a man that's got a wife, bro.
Yeah, speaking from experience.
But Daniel, as you,
I keep my mouth quiet on these topics, Ollie, but you seem to have a lot to say.
Daniel's taking shots still.
No, me, I'm not taking shots. I didn't say anything. But again, a goal casually set and lightly taken is freely abandoned at the first obstacle. So that's one thing to consider. But in life, with anything, you'll never make it as a wandering generality. You must be a meaningful specific. And that's by Zig Ziglar. And
I think
man like Ziggy.
You should definitely, Daniel. I was looking at what you forwarded, that booklet. It is a very, 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 very good, simple tool for people to use just to think about how 2019 has gone and how to think forward as well. So we should definitely think of a way of sharing that when we release this episode, either maybe with the link in our Instagram bio or something, because it's a great booklet which covers everything really. And I like the fact that you have to sign it as well at the end.
Oh, so I'm happy that you actually have opened it and read it.
Come on, bro. I'm not gonna...
because it's quite a number of pages. So not everyone. It's 20 pages.
Dan,
Mate,
after what you said,
anything you send me, Daniel, I'm there, bro. I've got you.
Dan, after what you said, it made me think back to I think a couple ideas in the book Atomic Habits, which was the other way to strengthen and to, you can kind of say, guarantee success for 2020 is not only to spend time focusing on the goal, but spend even more time focusing on the system that goes into achieving that goal. So one could say action items, but they even go as far as saying forget goals, just focus on systems. So I think one should spend more time thinking about, okay, how do I go about, what does it look like? I think Olu mentioned it, on a daily, quarterly, mid-year basis. What am I supposed to be doing in order to get to that particular goal?
And P, I sent you, remember that video I sent you on Instagram? Andy's video.
Yeah.
And he was mentioning something on Instagram which was so, like, it's so true. Like, you can't expect to reach a goal unless you do something extraordinary. Like, you need to carve out time. So I think he's doing something where he's doing like a sprint right now.
4 a.m.
Waking up at 4 a.m.
Yeah.
To carve out time from 4 a.m. to like whatever 6, 7, whatever time it is. Yeah. Where he's just gonna focus on a goal or something that he's trying to achieve. And it's like, you're never gonna be, let's say for example, you might have a goal to release a book or to start a new course or get some new qualification. You can't do that unless you truly carve out some specific time. And that's the system part that you're talking about, P. Whereas I create a system which allows you to succeed and reach that goal.
Yeah.
So if it's, oh, I want to go to the gym or whatever, okay, I'm going to wake up at 6 a.m. so I can work out from 6 to 7. That's something extraordinary. That's something different outside of your normal schedule so that you can meet that goal. So it's, how do you think about that system?
So,
And it also helps.
no, go on.
It also helps. I think there's a statistic. There's an alarming statistic that says a lot of people's New Year's resolutions fades by like the 12th day, January, something like along those lines.
Gyms are fun out for like the first 2 weeks.
That with the gym membership.
But then you could probably ask the question.
And then stop.
You ask the question as to why, and I think it speaks to Daniel's point, which is not developing a strong enough why as to when a tough does get going, reminding yourself why you started in the first place. But then I think the second thing is the system.
I don't think that's the same.
No, but I think the two. Oh,
when the tough get going.
No, but I wasn't saying the saying. I was just saying when it gets tough, people should think about the why. But then the second thing is the system. So I think the two combined together.
Yeah. No, good.
I was going to give an analogy of the whole goal setting. So imagine, we all know football. Football is the most probably common sport. So imagine it's like Champions League final. Mm-hmm. So everyone's warmed up. They all do their drills and everything. They all see the goal. Say it's not Man United because it ain't Man United. Say it's Barcelona. Messi's taking his practice free kicks. Everything's on target. Yeah. So they go into the changing room, and like the manager psychs them up, says, this is it. The whole season comes down to this one game. No one remembers who came second best. No one remembers the best man at a wedding. No one remembers who came second. It's all about tonight. So after that, everyone's charged up. So they go out onto the pitch, but then they're all pumped, ready to give it their best. But when they get out there, the goals have been removed. So they know that without a goal, they can't score.
Yeah.
Meaning in life, if you go out and pumped for something, but there's no goal, you don't know what you don't know whether you've missed or hit it. And when it comes up against the competition in terms of football, they wouldn't know if they won, if they lost. So the whole point is, are you attempting to play the game of life without goals? If you are, what is the score?
Jeez.
I think that's too deep for the three of us on this podcast. the way he's squinting, he's like, No,
I tell you why I'm squinting, yeah, because I'm saving Daniel. There was at one stage you guys were thinking this guy's it's not gonna drop off well. That's what I looked back.
He saved that end. Yeah.
I'm not gonna lie. For a second, I was like, Daniel.
Listen.
You're mocking.
Before he started, I was thinking, bro, this better be cold, cuz. And then, it was good. And he got shaky, and then I saw on his face. I said, "Nah, it's a wrap."
When it got shaky, when you like, if they come out and there's no goals,
the thing is, you have to think about that you're coming out, but then there's no goal. So how you can't keep a
the
score.
thing is, you know what saved you? That last line. Say that last line.
The last line good. Was like, okay, I can't even say that.
Bro, that last line, I swear down.
Dude, I looked at his face a lot.
No, it's clear.
Like, no, who's gonna crack first? Who's gonna crack first?
Olu, the thing is,
Daniel pulled out. Olu was this close.
The thing is,
he was this.
I'm not gonna lie. You see Olu,
this close.
Olu, yeah,
this close. Yeah.
Olu's bad. He's bad because Olu, he's ready to take the piss. Like he's ready to laugh. You can see he's like this.
No, the last line was dope, and it was just too deep for the other three of us.
This means too deep for you. Cool, too deep for you. Cool.
No, so how do we want to wrap up? Because I guess it's coming up to 40
Actually,
minutes,
I don't mind sharing one analogy that someone gave to me once about the importance
of goals. We got another analogy.
Yeah, but this one, this is for like the 3-year-olds for us to understand, right? So setting goals is like when you prepare to go food shopping.
What?
Okay.
Right. So how many times have you gone into a supermarket? Yeah, you go into a supermarket and you're walking down every single aisle, and you waste time looking at products that you don't need.
Nah.
You waste time buying stuff that you don't even want.
Nah.
And then at the end of it, by the time you get to the till, you don't even have the most important item that you actually set out to get when you entered the store.
Toilet
Setting goals is the equivalent of, okay, before I go into the store, before I enter the year, I know that I need to buy some liquid, I need to buy some toilet roll, I need to buy some videos or DVDs, whatever. Imagine you have 4 or 5 key items. Now, when you go into the store, you know exactly what you're looking for. You know where to go in the store. You know when to pick it up. You can do everything the quickest and the most efficient way. And by the time you get to the till, you've got all the key items and the ingredients that you have to achieve what you need to achieve in the year. You've got all the main stuff. Then you've got all the extra time to do whatever you want, but you've got all the important things done first. Now, are you living your life where you're just wandering from one aisle to another, just picking random stuff up, following the direction of whichever way you're walking? Or are you really making that list of your goals, making those list of things you need to buy in the supermarket, and doing things in the most efficient way for the best way for you to achieve what you want to achieve?
But if you forget it,
Yeah, I got an analogy. So imagine, yeah, setting off on a journey, right? And in order for you to get to your journey,
Go on.
That's it. You get lost. You forget what you're doing.
I'm playing. Go on.
No, but I've actually got one. I've got one as well.
I might as well finish it.
No, wait, no, you know what? Daniel, you say it one again.
Why?
You see all his face. I'm telling you, all his bad mind.
So why don't we just go around and share one last tip in regards to 2020 setting goals? No analogies, just tips.
One last tip. All right, go, Pete.
Yeah.
Go first.
No, go ahead.
My tip, I can go first. Oh, if you
Go on, Ollie, go ahead.
Okay, I go first. Okay.
Oh, now everyone wants to go first.
No, I'll go quickly. My tip before someone takes it is to be laser focused. Yeah, laser focus.
Bro, that's what I'm gonna say that to you. Yeah, that's not a goal, bro. That's like, what is that? That's
my tip, not my goal. Not my goal. My tip
for
2020.
That doesn't work.
Yeah,
on me,
cool.
man.
Just whatever.
Is to be laser focused. So when you go into 2020, think about 1 to 3 goals in which you want to set and you want to elevate your life. So don't waste time writing down mediocre goals like going to the gym when you're already someone that goes to the gym and stays fit. Set 3 goals, 1 to 3 goals, which are going to elevate and change your life, and just focus on that. Laser focus. 2020, go out and achieve.
So 2 tips. So the first one.
One tip.
Go ahead, Daniel. Go ahead.
No, P's got one. So we'll have one tip. I'll go last. It's cool. P, go.
Oh, you're going to finish last, yeah?
No one remember who went first. It's always the last. It's the last mention.
That's kind of sad.
Okay.
I think they will remember the first and the last.
Wait, what was the last one? What's Ollie's one?
Laser focus.
Oh, see, I forgot. Carry on, P.
No, sure, you go, because I might say one that you're going to be thinking of.
So for me, number 1 is share your goals with peers for accountability. Get accountability partners, whether it's 1 person, 2 people, 3 people, 4 people, however many people, share them. Maybe it's publicly on Instagram, maybe it's in a small mastermind. I for sure will do both this year. I'll share it with a group of individuals that I know will push each other, and I'll share it publicly as well.
Yeah, I realized you're going to say that one. So my number 1 tip is this. No more hiding, no more qualitative goals, no more fluff. We all know what that looks like when you're writing it down. I would strongly recommend to attach a number to each and every goal that you put, because then it's black and white whether you've achieved it or not.
Mr. Daniel Johnson.
DJ.
Put the goals back. Put the goals back with the net.
I haven't got a tip.
Put the goals back.
Make sure you have. I don't have a tip. What I say is make sure you have that 2020 vision.
2020.
Daniel, how long have you been waiting to use that line?
He's been waiting.
He's been waiting for the whole podcast.
2020 vision. And not because it's just the year 2020. Know what I'm saying?
Right, cool.
All right, guys.
Laser focus, accountability, quantitative, and have that vision for 2020.
Oh, quantitative. Yep.
All right, cool.
Boom.
So, Pete, book review.
Book review.
We're doing book review, yeah?
Come on, man.
I knew that was gonna
Real
happen.
quick, real quick. No. So real quick. The book. Have you guys read this one? So, the real quick. So I just wanted to basically speak on this. It's property related, and it's called Multiple Streams of Property. Sorry,
Your
multiple.
favorite topic?
Yeah, it's a hot
I
topic.
think you need.
man.
I think you need a book on the internet or broadband.
What you say?
Nothing. That was it.
Go on.
No, it's so multiple streams of property income. So I would strongly, because a lot of people say, like, a lot of people think, where do I start in property? What can I do? And I would strongly recommend beginners and even people that are sort of heavily into investing is to get this book and have a look, because a couple of reasons. One, you've got almost every strategy you can imagine that breaks down as to what it's about and how it works. And you're also, the authors effectively themselves are very highly experienced. But what I love about this book is that actually it has a nice chart with sort of over a number of years, which shows you how to sort of build your empire and what not to start too soon. So it's almost getting you to focus on the small bits before you start thinking about perhaps adding books and adding other areas or getting into sort of commercial developments. So it's kind of like a nice roadmap that takes you from starting from sort of single lets and then considering HMOs, pros and cons, and then moving up. But also giving you the difficulties, where obviously what works well, and roughly how long it can take to build it. So it manages expectations well. The one thing that I took from this book was the understanding of how to start thinking about leveraging other people's time. And so in order to be successful in anything that we're trying to do, we need to first sort of sell our vision to other people to attract them to work for us and work with us. But that then is very important in order to free up more of our time to then start thinking more innovative, working on strategy and taking more action. So one of the exercises that the book recommends we do is for 2 weeks, is to jot down where you spend your time and how you spend your time. Because what it wants you to do is after those 2 weeks is then to audit where your time is going. And then it's very black and white to show, is your time going towards income generating activities, or is it going towards other things? And then start to see what you actually doing for the 2 weeks that you potentially outsource and then leverage other people. So that was actually quite something. Like it's a very simple exercise, but I think the thinking behind it is very powerful, because then I think it plants a seed as to how you can start to work with different people to start build, in this case, your property portfolio. But every strategy is in there, from the basic strategies to sort of investing in single lets, to investing in multi lets, to some no money down techniques that Daniel was talking about earlier. That some strategies people don't know about. So rent to own, lease options, rent to rent. So I think it's, in that sense, it's for those two reasons, the number of strategies and understanding the concept of leveraging people's time is great reasons as to why you should definitely invest.
P, in regards to the book, what level of understanding do you need to have prior to picking up that book? Do you have
It's
to
for
already
beginners.
invest in beginners?
No, it's for beginners. It's really for beginners, and it's also for those who like us, who are sort of in the property space, but kind of are getting better clarity on certain strategies that we may not be aware of, but then thinking about how that could work for our property journey at some point. So that's why I like it. I think it's someone. It could be your first book that you read in property space, and it gets you thinking differently about property.
Cool. And in regards to, you mentioned that it's got like a track or a chart where it shows sort of the to build your empire. Because you hear some people say, look, don't waste your time with like single lets and stuff like that. Go big or go home. Do you not agree with that strategy, or do you feel like, okay,
these guys in particular,
yeah.
So with that strategy, I can see both sides of the argument, is what I would say. Me personally, I think it makes sense to have a number of single lets in your portfolio, because the beauty of single lets is, although they may not cash flow as high as, say, a multi-let or bigger units, there are tenants that stay in property for 10 to 15 years. So one of the things they say about single lets is basically it's called set and forget, right? And so the single let I've had since 2015, one tenant in there has been paying, and I haven't really had to worry about it. These guys in particular, Rob and Mark Home, they have bought and sold over 750 single lets in Peterborough, and today they have about 600. So they built their base with singlets, and the way they were able to scale was obviously the buy, refurb, refinance model before they started moving into what they're doing now, which is commercial developments and looking at 90 units structures. But I would personally say, it makes sense to gradually build. It's like you want to slow cook your portfolio. Some people want to jump straight into commercial. I think you got to know what you're getting yourself into, but it takes time. Yeah, go ahead.
I think the big thing is either know what you're getting yourself into, or find the right partner, right? I think that's an area that people don't do a lot of. We automatically feel like we need to start a journey by ourselves, but it's like either you have the knowledge and you need someone with the cash, or you have the cash and you need someone with the knowledge. So you need to bring something to the table, or you've got the time. So you might have the time, you might not have the knowledge or the money, but you've got the time. So it's like, how do you bring something to that table? And then how do you find the right person to partner with?
Or you could simply, you could be the person who knows someone who knows that has the cash, and someone who has the full knowledge, and then bring the two, get a finder's fee, get your cut, get your slice of the pie. And it's not about having always the biggest slice or having a whole pie. It's about having multiple slices in different pies.
Exactly. And I think that's the one thing people don't realize, right? 100% of zero is still zero, right?
Jeez.
So, cool.
Dope. So, P, do you mind repeating the name of the book and the author?
Yeah. It's Multiple Streams of Property Income by Rob Moore.
Cool. Appreciate it.
All right. So, hopefully everyone gets their 2020 goals rolling.
2020 vision, right, Daniel?
2020
That's
vision,
right.
Daniel. So on
Yeah.
that.
And don't forget, don't play football without any goals.
Well, you should know that. Isn't that Wednesdays? Isn't that for your Wednesdays or Tuesdays? Exactly.
The thing is, Dan, you know what it was? Dan, you know what it was? It wasn't the fact that what you said wasn't meaningful, because it certainly makes.
Of course, it's always meaningful. So don't try.
Wait. It's the fact that it's because as you were saying it towards the middle part here, you looked like you was not about to finish well or strong. You was looking at your notes or whatever. So Olu was like this. He was like this at first, yeah, like this.
So let that be a key in life for everyone and every listener. It's not about how you start; it's about how you finish. Jokes aside, it's true. It's true.
No, that's true. True. And you know what? I'm gonna have to listen to that again when I'm editing. I'm gonna listen to it again. I'm like, yo, this guy was spitting some gems, and I missed it. I missed it because sometimes you got to listen to it twice. But I'm sure there was some gems in there. Cool, Daniel.
So thank you for staying tuned to episode number 39 of Take Fly Podcast. We hope you've enjoyed it. Get goal setting if you haven't already. 2020 is a matter of weeks away, so please do get started. If you want the PDF, I'll try and make it available for anyone to get access to it, because I feel it's a very insightful and useful tool to make a meaningful 2020. But thank you all very much. It's been a great year, but we still have one more episode before the year ends. So we hope to see you on that episode too. If you have any feedback for us, as always, email us at takeflightpodcast@gmail.com, or find us on Instagram at takeflightpodcast.
And on YouTube as well. YouTube. Check out our YouTube page.
YouTube. It's popping. It's popping on YouTube. It's popping. It's popping. But thank you very much. Take care. God bless. See you next time.
Take off.